action.
Time is X minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome everybody to another edition of The Moon at Noon. We are more than halfway through the show now, which is hard to believe. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey and always being here Thursdays at lunchtime to hang out with us. For those who are new, I am Jenna. I am apparently the eclipse person now, but among other things. What about you guys?
I am John Reed, author of 50 Things to See on the Moon. And that's why I'm here.
I am Samantha. I'm Jenna's minion. Well, not really. I do all kind of outreach stuff with the Rask and still learning to view the sky myself. So
to clarify, is it Rask or the Rask? Which is proper, Jenna? What do we say?
Technically, it's up to you.
It's up
also,
to us.
I'm pretty sure you're supposed to say the RASC because there's a whole bunch of rules. I'm not 100% familiar with them, but either way, rules are made to be broken, right?
Yep. All right. Thanks.
You know what I mean. You know what I'm saying.
So today we had a suggestion from one of you, which was an excellent suggestion, which is to keep doing all the sketching, just doing it after the half hour that we have set for the moon. So that's what we're going to keep doing for the last remaining 5 sessions. Is we're going to do content in the first half hour, so things like what the targets are and other tips, and then in the last 15 minutes we're going to sketch. And if you want to join us for sketching, you're more than welcome to. We will not be offended if you leave and have other better things to do with your time, but
I'll be offended.
Yeah, it's kind of like,
speak for yourself.
I won't be offended.
This is
Samantha and John, they're
here.
going to come get you. Yeah.
And if you stay to the end of today, we have a kind of exciting announcement coming up, and John has a cool thing to show us as well. So
all of those things. So yes, there's an opportunity to get more involved, and John has technology. Or in this case, actually, I suppose it's hardware. So today we're doing Q Day 1, which is in theory tonight. And you should be able to see all of the targets that we're going over tonight. The moon might be slightly too past best for Q Day 1, but we're still going to go over the targets and take a look at all of them. Also, Phil pointed out, and this is true, no matter what, whether you say RASC, Rask, or the Rask, or the RASC, the is not capitalized. That's the one thing. Unless it's at the beginning of a sentence, unless the should be otherwise.
there you have it from our executive director.
Them's the rules, folks. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go jump into screen sharing as everyone loves to do. Look, it's us. So here's our Q Day 1 moon. We're just past Q Day 0, which is when the moon is exactly cut in half. And so right now we're waxing, and it's just a little bit past that quarter full. And we have some really nice targets today. Plato is one of my favorite craters, and it's one of our targets. I think it's just so pretty and pristine and lovely. So
did you guys see the first quarter moon? Because I know someone in the one of our viewers did. Lisa Ann Fanning got a picture of the lunar V and the lunar X in the same photo, and that's quite impressive because there's really only a 3-hour window or a 4-hour window every month where that can happen, but it doesn't happen for a number of reasons. 1, clouds. 2, that might occur when the moon is, it's daytime for you, and or maybe the librations or the terminator is not quite lined up. So she got both at the same time, and that was awesome.
Those are technically not, I think the Lunar X and Lunar V are not targets for this program, but they are super cool to find.
They're just cool.
Yeah. So Lisa, I hope you don't mind me sharing your picture. I'll share it without any other identifying information just in case. But there's the picture that Lisa took with the Lunar X and the Lunar V.
And this was just with a spotting telescope, like a bird watching scope. So it's not like a big daub or anything. So
Yeah, so super cool. These are kind of like visual, they're humans trying to find patterns and stuff. In this case, this is, I believe, 2 craters that are right next to each other that make this kind of X. So it's a bit of an illusion, but it's still really cool to find. And technically there's an L and potentially an E on the moon as well. So you can use any crater for the letter O. And so you can spell it love, which is nice.
I mean, most of the moon just says, ooh.
Ooh. Have you seen the lunar O?
Just a bunch of O's.
Oh dear.
Or eight or infinity symbols.
Oh yeah, there'd be a lot of infinity
Yeah.
symbols. Yeah. So this was on the first quarter. And as John said, it only happens every once in a while. And Chris Vaughn posts about this in his Skylights, I think, as well. I just try to be friends with the people who know these things, and they text me. That's my life hack. And I think Sky News posted as well on occasion. So both good sources to try to find out when the Lunar X is going to be and whether or not you're going to be able to see it. And of course, last night was our target from last week. So hopefully you all got the chance to see some of the targets from last week as well.
I did not know the Lunar X was on the moon. I thought it was some sort of satellite every time you guys talked about it.
That's fair. It kind of sounds like an orbiter, yeah.
So I've learned something new now.
Well, the L Cross mission was a very famous NASA mission, and I feel like they're one of the ways they wrote it down had an X in it.
Yeah.
But that was the mission where they ran a spaceship into the moon and tried to kick up all that ice, and then they flew another spacecraft through the plume and got that data back to see what was the composition of what was in that crater. That was
So
a really
cool.
fun mission. Yeah.
So cool. A note from Lisa as well that the straight wall was visible last night too, which is it's a very cool feature. It is a straight wall. I don't think it's a target for this program either, correct?
Yes, that one is.
That one is a target.
Yeah.
Okay, right. The straight wall and the straight range. The straight range being up here.
The straight range, I'm pretty sure is that a today one?
That is tomorrow. I think it's more of a lunar day too. Or sorry, a Q day too. But you can still see the straight wall tonight in theory. This is a simulation of the moon in this evening, right after sunset. And there's the straight wall here, right near Borealis, which was a target that we talked about earlier, I'm pretty sure. Just to the east, I can never remember. Just to the sunny side of that crater. So you should see this very, very straight line here, and that's the straight wall.
Yeah.
The cool thing about the straight wall is there's a valley in Nova Scotia, which has a south mountain, I guess. And the straight wall there is almost the exact height and length of the valley in Nova Scotia. So
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
super neat.
it's very, so for
gosh.
us, it's a good sort of reference point.
So Dave Chapman also mentions that there used to be a Google Lunar X Prize, nothing to do with the moon, our astronomy.
Oh,
as
yeah.
well.
That was a competition. I think the idea, I forget if anyone won it or not, but that was a competition. You got $10 million for landing a rover on the moon and driving it 100 meters.
Wow.
So I think the X prizes, though, they expire. And so if no one gets it by a particular date,
It was not awarded.
it was
That's
not
cool.
awarded. Yeah.
Okay,
Why?
gonna-
Okay.
along for today's targets, and then John's going to show us how to take pictures of the moon with his phone. Originally, we were going to do some math, but then my brain was not up to the challenge, so we're going to do photos instead.
And it's exciting because I just realized I actually already viewed this night. So I have some of my notes about these.
You have experience.
Yes.
starting-
And I just dropped my notes. So
Oh,
go get them.
starting at the top, we have Plato, which is one of the coolest craters. So this is tonight's view. I find Plato to be really, really cool just because it's so like blank. It's one of
so
those craters.
smooth. Yeah.
So smooth. It's one of those craters that was filled in with basalt, like lava, as the moon. Same with the plains. So it or like the Maria. So it was filled in with that, and that makes it very, very smooth and just this like little perfect circle on the top of Mare Imbrium, which
Yeah.
is
And then it's got that geological feature on the southwest. I think that's a mastiff something.
what is
uh,
this thing?
Yeah, that thing. So that's always cool to,
That's neat.
the
I hadn't noticed
resolution in
that
your
before.
telescope is strong enough. That's, a slip fault or something's going on in the crater wall where it all moved down a chunk.
that slid, like this little part kind of slid in.
Yeah.
Oh,
I haven't read
cool.
about it in a while, but it's one of those things that geologists look out for when they're, looking at geological history.
That's super neat.
My description of it was a shallow crater with a shallow crater with a glowing halo like outside shape, and it's framed in the middle by the darker part of the moon. I don't know what that meant, but
Like
it kind of looked like, I think it looked like there was darker parts of the moon like on either end of it. My
Okay.
picture is, and it kind of, when I saw it, the outside was very glowing and it was flat. So
neat. Cool.
yeah.
Did you capture these mountains, which I'm pretty sure are the Tenerife Mountains? Yes, Tenerife.
Are they on the list? Probably not. If
They are on the list, but I did not draw them when I saw this as well. So I forgot about these. These are these little baby mountains here. These might be easier to draw because they are not connected to anything else, like with these mountains, it's hard to find a line where you stop drawing. These are very specific, like separate mountains. So they might be easier to draw.
I don't know if I captured them. I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm looking for my
unfortunately.
notes too. I wonder what I did.
Let's see if we can find the Spitsbergen Mountains. Spitsbergen. I don't know if I can. John, do you know where the Spitsbergen Mountains are? Is
Go
that
back
these
to the map.
things? So we have this, and there's Archimedes. Is this Archimedes here? I would say that's Archimedes. So these
Yeah,
would be the
that's Archimedes.
Spitsbergen Mountains.
Just going from memory here. I mean, I can look at the bigger map.
I think these.
I don't
these
remember.
are the-
I was thinking it was the ones below, but
Okay.
yeah, anyway.
I think these are the only mountains they could be because it is above. Because I think this was a different mountain range. I know this was a different mountain range because we already
Yeah.
observed it, or I've already observed it somewhere else. So then we have, this is Archimedes here, which again, it's a little bit past best because the Terminator is so far over, but you can still see it. You just don't see quite as much detail on it. And then Eratosthenes, which is another really nice crater. I really like this one. It's right next to Copernicus, which you will be able to see tonight, but is a tomorrow target. You could draw it if you wanted to.
I think I got them both in the same night when I did it.
Yeah, and it was the night that we did Reinhold, and there was another one down here at Landsberg, I think. They all kind of fit together. So if you want, you can draw them even for like your own reference about where they are. Eratosthenes is a really pretty one because it has that central peak and these ridgy edges as well. So it's super neat.
I love the ones with the central peak. I just think they look so, I love the future. It's one of my favorite things to look at.
So cool. All right, moving forward, we do have several Maria / seas, lakes, etc. And Sinus Aestum is one of them. So that's right beside Eratosthenes. Normally, I would suggest, and I think we would all generally agree that you should observe Maria on the full moon because you get the bigger picture of it. But this one might actually be easy enough to just throw in with Eratosthenes and just like draw a little line around here to show the edge of it, or that show that there's this like kind of cool darkness up here. And throw it in with your observation of Eratosthenes because it's right there. Yay! Thanks, Dave. I get bonus points for pronouncing Eratosthenes correctly. I spent a lot of time on that one. And then we can scoot down to Nubium, which again, this one is one of the Maria, which I think I would suggest drawing at the full moon. What do you guys think?
I mean, I think I just did it along with the wall,
Okay, that's fair.
but I don't know.
There's the ball.
But then usually if you have a good view of the wall, you don't have a whole view of the sea. You're only getting partial.
That's the
So,
tricky part. So does it count? Probably, but still.
Yeah.
So there's a couple options, but when you're going down to find the wall, Mare Nubium is the last dark spot before you hit the bottom of the moon. All this is all Crater City down here. So as you come up from there and into the next up dark spot, that's where the straight wall is going to be if you're looking for it. And then into Crater City. Oh, I get so lost down here.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But I mean, Clavius is really obvious.
It
And then
is.
Tycho, is primarily a full moon object because of the rays.
Yeah, I
And
said it was
then-
one of the more striking craters on the moon that night when I was looking at it.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
it appears almost white. So this picture like doesn't really
It
do
is-
it.
Yeah, on a full moon, it's really easy to see Tycho because it is one of the brightest things on the moon.
It's very reflective.
Yeah. So Clavius is one that I think John has mentioned before as like a good navigation crater because it's really unique. It has this little curve of progressively smaller craters through it. So if you can find this with this little curve of little craters in it, the next crater up to the right, or depending on your view, to the northeast, I think, is one of our targets. That's Maginus. There goes all my cred for pronouncing it correctly.
When I was trying to find them, actually, like I used Clavis as I identified it by the too many craters, but Magnus, for some reason they also had too many craters, so I couldn't tell originally what was what. They kind of remind me of Mickey Mouse, like, you know, my mom used to make me Mickey Mouse pancakes as a kid. That's what they remind me of. So yeah, I got confused between the two of them, but the Clavis was slightly larger, and that's how I identified it in the end.
Okay.
I didn't know about the like 3 craters, because that's what I get for doing things before we have our sessions, but trying to be a keener.
They've got little like curves. They've got a curve of little craters. So this is the Maginus one, and then there's Tycho straight up, following the line of the Terminator, but off to the right in the light. Tycho will be there. And that's it for our targets for this week. They are all technically visible tonight, even though the moon is a little bit fuller than like ideal would be.
I think you guys can get a couple at least. Where is the straight range again? We've already gone over it, but
the straight, so we had the straight wall down here.
Yeah.
And the straight range is up at the top near Sinus Iridum. So that's this thing. It looks like a hot dog. It's the hot dog one.
So I think that's a Q-day too, right?
That is a Q-day too. Yeah.
So I just note, if you find Plato, I used Plato to find the straight range.
Okay.
So for Q-day 2, if you guys are out or maybe you see a little bit more than this view, you might be able to get the straight range.
True.
By Plato. I know we won't go into too much detail.
Now, did you guys take a picture last night, or was it the night before from the
last
we did.
night?
So we took this last night with the Rask Robotic Telescope, because we had a bunch of students who were interested in this sort of stuff. So this was last night's view. And you can, I'm pretty sure, I'm going to get lost. And maybe this isn't bright enough, but I'm pretty sure you could see the straight wall last night. No, it's not bright enough.
We could see the straight wall, because I remember we were really excited and we zoomed in and we were
Okay.
like, look at the straight wall. And
So
I'm
I'm gonna
open
introduce-
image J and show us some magic.
I'm going to do that. So this is going to introduce us to our next topic in the moon stuff, which is taking pictures of it. Please note that taking pictures does not count as an observation. You do need to either draw or write about your experience. But taking pictures can be really fun, and you can post it online and get internet points.
Use it as your background.
Use it as your background. So normally cameras like your phone and your DSLR take pictures in a file type that you would expect with color and with like JPEGs or raw photos or whatever. Our scope takes pictures in .fit files, and so it's in black and white, but it has way more information in it than you would expect from a black and white photo, and that can often be well represented in just a plain old photo. So with this thing down here, you can change how much of this is visible. So by cranking this all the way up here, we can zoom in and look, there's the straight wall. Boom, boom. Of course, this is the flipped view as well. But now it's overexposed out here, so you can pull this back and
That's
correctly
cool.
expose it. Or
So
darken it.
fits are what professional astronomers would use. So it doesn't have, it doesn't have any compression like your phone would or anything. It's literally just an array that matches the CCD chip, and and a number that represents is relative to the number of photons that hit each pixel. So it's very, very like sciencey.
Yeah, it's super sciencey, and this is the kind of thing where you can take a picture and like really pull information out of it, and learn more about what's going on in the photo. So check this out in a close-up view in terms of how much detail can be brought out from like over here, but it really overexposes the mountains, and so you can tone it back down and get a better view of these mountains on this side. It's very, very cool.
Yeah. So if you're ever using the BGO, like the Burke-Affty Observatory at St. Mary's, the image that it tweets to you is a JPEG. So that's compressed. It doesn't have a lot of this extra information. But if you take a photo from the BGO and go to the website and download it, you can download the FITS file, and then you can do what Jenna's doing here. Except you would want to use, you probably don't have ImageJ on your computer, but it will open in in GIMP, which is like knockoff Photoshop, a free version of Photoshop.
The open source of Photoshop.
Not knockoff.
Not knockoff
knockoff.
Photoshop. Yeah.
We're not going to get into the debate about
Yeah, but Photoshop doesn't open Fits directly. You need to use Fits Liberator from NASA or some other program.
Fits are a very irritating file type, I find. But once you find a way to open them and export them, then they're great because you have just so much information in each photo.
They're annoying for taking pretty pictures, but great for science.
Yeah.
So unless you want a super detailed photo, I'm sure your phone, which we'll show later, will do great just as well. Jenna and I are still working on the observing committee to convince them to let us use a robotic telescope to get our certificate. But
So,
Dave,
no.
no.
Yeah. So this is a start to the how John's going to show us how to make pretty pictures with a phone through your IPs.
Yeah, with the least amount of effort, because that's important, relatively important. So the most common way to take a photo of the moon is, you can just hold your camera. Do I have a phone? Yeah. You can literally just hold your camera up to the eyepiece, and it's kind of tough, but you can do it and you'll get a pretty good picture.
That's what this came from.
Yeah, so you can just hold it. But if you want to be a little bit more reliable about it, one of these camera adapters is the way to go. Now there's a ton of these on the market. So I have 6. But this is the Celestron XYZ, and it's the only one that doesn't make me swear. And the reason they're so tough to get right is that the iPhone has to be it has to be precisely centered in what's called the exit pupil. So it has to be precise, and it has to be precisely aimed. So it has to be square. And that's really, really hard to do. It's hard to do when you're holding it, and it's even hard to do in an adapter. But with this one, you've got 3 ranges of motion. So you can go toward the eyepiece and away, and you can go left and right and up and down. And it's fairly square. So another way you can make sure that it's square on this is I usually start with the eyepiece out, and I just make sure that when it's in the clamp, it's perfectly flush with the top of the clamp. Because if it's lopsided in the clamp, you won't get that shot straight down the barrel with the phone. And that's the big advantage of this this contraption versus a lot of the other ones, is that straight down the barrel shot is really, really challenging. But this sort of solves that.
Linda just asked, and this is going to be my question as well. What is the cost of that one compared to, I have like 2 or 3 of the other ones you're talking about.
So this one is sold all over the place. So I got this for $50 at Canadian Tire. The knockoff ones, but I think on Amazon it's more expensive, but it goes on sale at Canadian Tire, so that's why I picked it up.
Save your Canadian Tire money.
Yeah, you can use your Canadian Tire money. Amazon is actually one of the more expensive places to get telescope in general, because a lot of the time they're used marketplace sellers. So people complain to me all the time. Like I wrote about how I actually like this sort of cheap Costco scope, and they were complaining like, "Oh, it's $700. What are you doing to us?" And I'm like, "No, it's $200. Just don't use Amazon, right? Costco or whatever." And generally not a great place to buy telescopes in general. I just happened to like this one. Anyway, different conversation. So
Yeah.
basically,
but now people know where to go get them and not be tricked by Amazon.
yeah, like B&H Photo or Ontario Telescopes or Conscope or one of these other, Canadian Support Canada, I guess. They're much better than just Amazon for telescope stuff. Yeah.
You get to
I
talk
should buy
to
my
people
book.
too.
You can buy my book on Amazon. Yeah. So basically it screws in. Usually you want to just look at the moon, get the moon centered first, get it in focus to your eye. Doesn't have to be perfect because the iPhone is going to autofocus on the moon. So then you're going to put the phone in to your left, right, up and down to center it. You're going to obviously open your photo app. The challenge I have with the photo app that comes with the camera is that if you zoom in, it will switch cameras because the iPhone has a different camera for each level of zoom. But usually if you're just doing the full moon, it'll use camera 1, I guess.
I have
Camera
a single
1X.
camera.
Cameras. Yeah. Anyway, So what you want to do is just frame the shot so that the moon is exactly how you want to see it. And you're going to use that sort of up and down slider. So you'll click on the moon to set the focus, and then that up and down slider sets the exposure. And so you want to make sure that the limb of the moon tends to be the brightest part, and the terminator tends to be the darkest part. You want to match so that the limb's not overexposed, but that there's still detail on the terminator. Because if you turn the darkness too far down, your terminator disappears. So anyway, so you frame it up and get the moon looking good. And you can just take a picture at that point and it'll be okay. The challenge is we're looking through atmosphere, and the moon is usually, if you look at it, you can see it shaking. And then if you have the picture and you want to make it as the background for your wallpaper, it won't be perfect. It'll be blurry in spots, or maybe a little blurry all over, or pixelated or something. It won't be perfect. The way you get that perfect shot is by taking a video. And so what you do is you take a video, and the longer the video that you take, the higher the quality of the image you'll get out the other side. And now if we have an iPhone, we're gonna shoot the video over to the computer, and I can show you an example.
For some reason, as you were fiddling with your phone on your telescope, I kept expecting to see the moon in it. And I realized that is ridiculous because you're inside and it's daytime and the moon is like up there. But I was still like, why is it so blurry? I feel like
I could bring up the picture.
That's okay. Let's keep going with the video editing.
And just to clarify, John,
you
don't need an iPhone, right, to do this. You can use basically any phone.
I used my Samsung.
And the software, at least the Mac software, it seems like it'll just literally take any file that you give it. On the PC, it's a little different. You want to use something called PIPP, which is free software called pre-imaging planetary something, PIPP. But on a Mac, it's a little easier, but it's also it's not going to take you as far without using some other software. So I'm going to open this software called Lynkeos, Lynkeos, and it's free, and it just opens like this. And the idea is you just I'm just going to walk through the first 4 steps to turn that video. So here's a video I took a couple nights ago. I'm just going to drag it onto this Lynkeos. You guys can see my screen, I assume, into the software. And then if I click here, I can see that this video has 81 frames. And if I click on any one of these frames and zoom out, I can see this, one of the frames from the moon. And so what you need to do is basically just click on each tab one at a time. This is going to be, I need to align, and then I'm going to draw a little box over a piece of the moon. I don't think it really matters what piece. Then I'm going to hit align, and it's going to take all of the images. So even if you're holding the phone and it's bouncing around, the software will take all those frames and just stack them on top of each other. So they'll get rid of the bouncing.
I don't know if this program liked that video.
Oh no, it didn't.
Was that the one you were having issues with earlier?
No. Anyway, maybe I'll go back.
Also, just a heads up, I have included the link for that software in the chat. It's called Lynkeos. I know John's screen is fairly small. If you can make the Zoom window full screen or go back to YouTube and rewatch it at full screen, hopefully it'll keep things a little bit clearer.
And I'm relatively new to this, so again, I'm not gonna go too much into it. So yeah, but you're basically just gonna follow these 4 steps after you stack the image, which is taking all those frames and putting them on top of each other. At that point, you can there we go. Export it and then do the rest in Photoshop. So here you can see the video is all wavy, right? And so any one of these frames isn't that great. Oh, this was the long one. I see.
Aha. Also, John, while this is processing, is Lynkeos available? What platforms is it available on again?
This is the Mac. If you have a Mac. If you're on a PC, yeah, sorry. If you're on a PC, it's Registax.
Registax.
Oh, I've heard of that one now before. Back in October, when we had the Mars, people were taking videos of Mars to get cool photos doing this.
And a question from Paul Norris. This is indeed Lucky Imaging. So if you ever hear of Lucky Imaging, that's what this is called.
Yeah. And so I think in the next step, and I'm not perfect at this. I'm very new to this software. There's there is a way to analyze the image, analyze your picture, and say, right now there's 659 frames. It's not letting me do this. But anyway, so I'm gonna just do the whole thing. And it will take the best frames to actually stack. So that's what Lucky Imaging is. So we're gonna throw out most of the blurry frames. And then so we're only stacking the good data. Oh, here I can do it right here. So let's say I only want to take the best, that was pretty wavy. It was a pretty poor seeing that night. So let's take the top 90 images. And then when I go to stack, it should only stack those
Best of the best.
the best of the best. Yeah. So again, I'm going to draw a circle or draw. I don't know if you can actually see that red box. There's a red box around it anyway. So hopefully here it'll just stack those 36 frames into one. Yeah, and that's what it's doing. And then it'll show me the stack. And now it's done. So now those 36 frames are now a single image, and I can save this. So
Nice.
save this as final. Boop. And it'll save it as a TIFF, which is it's basically like what you turn a fit file in if you want to treat it like an image in Photoshop. I can drag that into Photoshop. And then
That
so
beautiful
that,
moon.
yeah, to keep Dave Chapman happy, we need to rotate it. Because you don't want to post a backward moon.
Why
So we're gonna
not?
turn it straight up, and then we're gonna flip it horizontally so that it's in the right position. And then this was probably pretty low in the sky, so you can see it's reddish, and that's from the color of the atmosphere. So to fix that, you want to change the temperature. So I'm just going to go into one of the filters here, camera raw filter, and then I can remove some of that that light pollution color there. And then there's a lot of other stuff you can do in here. You can play with your contrast, your exposure, and you can also, I like to denoise it.
Yeah.
And then so that if you're using it as a desktop background, you don't see any pixels or anything like that. So there's a noise reduction feature, or you can sharpen it
So
too.
James Fash just said it. I was about to say this. There's something called GIMP, GIMP. Dana just sent it. It's a Photoshop alternative. Also, I guess if you're not trying to denoise it, a lot of this color adjusting and like temperature setting, you can do it in almost like any photo editing. Like I'm pretty sure Windows native photo editor has that. We use Photoshop because once you get into the Adobe suite, it's really hard to get there.
Yeah, so if I just double click on this is the Mac version. So you can just say tools, adjust color, and then do it from here,
So yeah, we're using Photoshop, but you can do this in like almost any sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then real quick, a question from YouTube from VJ. How long was that 650 frames? It wouldn't be 10 minutes at 60 frames per second because for 650 frames at 60 frames per second, you'd only really need 6.5 seconds.
So that video is 22 seconds.
Yeah. So it's, as many frames as you want times, the number of frames per second that you want times the number of seconds will get you how many frames it'll have.
Yeah, and it looks like I used, I didn't use the iPhone app. It looks like I used Nightcap for that, which is an app. It was $3 at the App Store, and it gives you a little bit more control over your exposures. And then you don't have that, like, as you zoom in, switching camera issue.
Hooray! So that was
Yeah.
super fast. But this video is up on YouTube. So if you ever need to go back and look at it again, it is there.
And James Fast, I'm gonna say
Yes,
yes. It can use
it
for
does.
planetary imaging. 'Cause
Yeah.
I didn't hear about the moon. I heard about how to image Mars with this technique.
Yeah.
So actually, planetary imaging is like what it's kind of used for, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
planetary imaging. Since the planets are so small, it is more affected by the atmosphere. And so when you're doing this with planetary imaging, you end up throwing out like 80% of the frames if you want a really good photo. So you'll take videos for hours and then use just like the very, very small amount to get the best
minutes.
shots. It depends on how much you want.
So hours, so that you can't do it for hours because planets rotate.
Right, that's fair.
So you would, if you're doing Jupiter, for example, you might do hours, but then you slice it into bits and then you'd make an animation. Yeah.
Makes sense. All right. We still went over time, even though we are taking measures to specifically not go over time. So that marks the end of our content section. So take photos of the moon, enjoy that, post them, share them with hashtag Ask Moon at Noon. And that leads us to a little announcement that we had fun with that we want to share with you. So we all three of us are somewhat interested in some way in art. So Samantha likes to knit, crochet, this little crocheted moon.
I have like dozens of yarn at my desk right now. So
there you go. John has his paintings. I have a loom. It's not with me, but I like that sort of stuff. So we wanted to make a contest with art inspired by the moon. So we're asking you to create some sort of creative thing. And it can be a painting. It can just be your sketches. If you want it to be your sketches, it can be a song. I think Phil is working on something really unique, which I'm not going to share unless he wants to share it, which sounds really cool. It could be a poem, anything that can be shared on social media, because that is how we're accepting submissions. So if you want to share on social media, use the hashtag #RaskMoon at noon, and we'll be watching that. And over the next 4 sessions, we'll be choosing 2 submissions a session to be featured on the channel and on the show. So submit your art, and if you are chosen to be featured, we will send you a Rask fanny pack.
don't you want to be cool and have a Rask family?
Wait, how do we get a Rask fanny pack?
I guess I should have probably sent them to the co-hosts already. But
it'll be cooler than us. That's hard to do, but
that's true. Yeah. And so we will send you that. Those fanny packs are super useful. I use them to keep my pencil and my eyepieces in when I'm observing. I think they're great. And so send us in your submissions if you have any art that you've created that's based on the moon. And yeah, we'll be keeping an eye out for it, and we'll probably be submitting our own as well.
Use the hashtag #RaskMoon at noon. You can submit it Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. If we're preferring those just because it's a lot easier to repost and share and add great things. But for some reason, if you don't have social media for anything, we'll type in the chat outreach plus moon at rask.ca, and you can send your submissions there. But yeah, we prefer social media. It'd be awesome because we can flood Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter with cool moon stuff, and then other people can see it too. So
And then the other people will see how cool it is, and they'll watch our show.
Exactly.
And like if you're worried, you can tag our account too. I'm not sure. We might run into an issue depending on your privacy settings too.
Yeah, so the sharing depends on the privacy settings, but I think we'll be able to see it.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get on to sketching, because we are now 8 minutes into our 15 minutes of sketching. I'm gonna run our poll real quick. Stick around if you want to sketch. You don't have to. That's so funny. Cicely, that's
we got a Q&A.
Yeah, to give it a read. I'm gonna start the poll for what you want to sketch today. Here is today's target, so give it a shot. If you would like to sketch, vote for your favorite of the ones there. If you want to do Maria instead, that's going to be tricky because it only let us do 10 entries. So I couldn't include Maria. But vote on whichever ones you like. If you want Maria, you can vote for the Maria at the very bottom, and we will choose one of the options.
Please no Maria. I don't have the photo up yet.
No Maria. I didn't take any screenshots of the Maria.
I have never sketched Maria, so maybe next week we'll prepare to sketch Maria.
Yeah.
I can't vote. This is so sad.
What do you want, Samantha?
I wanted the straight wall.
Okay, we'll factor that into the votes. John, what did you want? John, you're muted for some reason. Oh my God, that's the silliest straight wall I've ever seen.
I'm done. I hope people vote for that. And then we'll put in the crater Bert. So there's a crater next to it. It's called Bert. So we'll just put that in there.
I thought you named the crater Bert.
I might as well have, but no, I didn't.
All right, we're going to wrap this up in 5, 4, 3. Get your last votes in 2, 1. And our winner is the straight wall. Woohoo! This will make it quick, at least. It won by a hair, by 3 votes, if you include Samantha's, over Play-Doh, which I am a little sad because I do love Play-Doh, but I understand the straight wall is really cool and we should definitely sketch it.
I'm just pulling up my stuff so we can pull up the straight wall. There we go. I'm gonna share my screen. Share.
I don't
Wow.
understand what Judy's question is. What's that?
So there's a crater called Thebit. So if you just type it into Google, you can answer a
working?
question. Or yeah.
Yay!
Hooray. Samantha, I'm going to lower your hand because I assume that you do not have a question.
Yeah. So I think that
a
crater,
question.
Judy, is the one by the T in this image.
Oh, I see.
I think.
Those are cool. It's like bubble craters.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not what I wanted to do.
But for some reason, my lunar map is gone. So if you like see me looking around frantically, I'm very confused because I like don't go anywhere.
Oh, no.
It's so weird. Oh,
Where
there
would
it
you
is.
have lost it?
It was
All right.
blending in with my wife's pillow.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
That's
so
like a very colorful pillow. Okay.
let's get started because
Alright.
we only
I
have so
framed
much
my
time.
image already.
Good job, Samantha. There's another little line beside the straight wall too, eh?
Yeah, that's right. So by the T there, that's the Thibet crater.
Thank you, John. Oh yeah, where is it? You didn't mention it. You didn't draw it, John. Why didn't you draw Thebit?
Oh, well, here we go. Here we go. Right
So for
there.
those again, and while we're going over this, I will also remind folks to draw the dark spots first.
I was just outlining where everything was.
Oh yeah,
That's
true. Yeah, you do you, girl.
No, I was just saying that's my kind of thing. I like to outline and
Yeah.
then kind of scribble in.
I know why nobody calls the straight wall by its real name,
What's its real name?
because it's Rups recta
Rupus recti.
or Rupus recta.
That's rough.
No, recta, RECTA.
Oh dear.
The show, the main part of the show's over. We can now make
We
silly
can now be
jokes.
sillier.
Were we not silly before? That's the real
That's
question.
true.
I mean, you have to. It's about the same time in the other show we were talking about Uranus.
That's true.
So
It's
this
the-
is sort
it's
of
the end silly times.
so Rupus recta is can go hang out with.
Uranus.
Oh, Dave
Oh my God,
Chavez
this
says
is
like
so
rectilinear. That's not better.
That's not Oh my god. Are we all 12? It's very possible.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. The line on the left is hard because it's light. For the most part. Oh, this is oh no, I'm
No
back.
geometry fans. I've taken a lot of geometry and I've never heard of that. And I mean a lot.
John, are you not sketching with us?
I'm done.
You can't.
You're not sketching now.
No.
That's done now.
We're not letting you play that game, John.
Nope, totally.
John's the type of person who's like, the lazy people get things done the most efficiently because they don't want
Yeah.
to do all the work. Jen and I are the complete opposite. We create more work than we have to for ourselves. But
That's so painfully true.
sorry, calling us
Bert.
both
It's
out.
spelled Bert, John. BIRT,
Yeah.
not
That's what I said,
BERT.
Bert. Wait a minute. When did I spell it? I didn't spell it at all. Did I not? Or did I just
I don't
say the E in my voice?
Yeah, you said it Bert instead of Bert.
Mm. Oh, he says he's
Okay.
not correcting.
Dave's not
Okay.
correcting. We're just
We're
reading
just giving
far
Dave a
into
hard
it.
time.
Yeah.
Dave's our hero. So
Dave's left the chat right now.
Dave's left the chat.
He's still in there. Sorry. You know the expression.
I know the expression.
He's not
Oh,
becoming
man.
involved.
I'm not good at this, guys.
I mean, we're all working, doing our best.
The Thebit crater looks like two bubbles because the line between them is kind of straightish. It looks like when bubbles meet and they kind of like straighten out in the where they meet.
Mhm.
That's what it kind of looks like. Looks like a little bubble.
What is this thing that's on the back end of everything?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I'm gonna draw it. It looks cool.
Yeah. John, do you have any idea what that little like curvy bit at the end is?
It looks like a little
So
spider.
I would guess that is a it looks like a crater that is half flooded. So that's like the side of a crater or something.
Oh, that's kind of neat. Yeah, I could see that.
Or yeah.
I'm
So
going
it
to
almost
use-
looks like to the left, the land is lower, like maybe that's 100 meters lower than the land on the, or sorry, the other way around. The land on the right is lower than the land on the left.
Oh, I see.
And maybe, I don't know.
Is there a name for this other little ridge that they have?
Yeah, Dave added it in the chat. It's called Rima Burt. Rima Burt. I should have tried to draw that. It's hard to draw.
I was saying the one thing I've actually gotten into drawing digitally is because I'm less scared of making mistakes.
That's true.
So,
It's a good way to look at it.
because I'm like, I can erase it in 2 seconds. I mean, maybe I'll get better. Maybe it'll make me better at regular drawing.
I had this app on for the Mac a while ago before I got a new computer, and I don't remember what it was. And for whatever reason, I deleted it. And when you drew like that, it would immediately, as soon as you drew a line or anything, it would snap and make it better.
Oh,
So whatever you drew, it just made it better.
I was like, oh,
was
good.
really
We see
weird.
what you were trying to do, and we're going to do it better for you.
Yeah, it used a little bit of AI or something.
I've
That's
seen
cool.
apps that do that.
I'm not sure what that was.
You can have like smoothing things. I know with writing, sometimes you can do it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm getting to the smudging stage. Where's everyone else at?
I've been smudging the entire time.
Okay.
Drop in the chat, whoever still. We have lots of people still here joining
Yeah,
us.
thanks for sticking around with us. We
'Cause
appreciate it.
we're just hanging out.
We're just hanging out at this point. It's nice.
It's
to just hang
Thursday.
out.
Jen and I were up late stargazing last night, so
So
you
late.
know,
We're all a little sleep
sleepy.
deprived. Yeah.
We have clouds because my new telescope came in. So
Of
We have
course,
clouds.
it's all your fault.
well, then of course I, needed a $300 adapter so that it would fit my camera. So I had to wait.
Oh no.
To be a professional astronomer.
No, this is just like a backyard. This was a
I know.
61 millimeter. So this telescope, like my shoe is bigger than this telescope. Anyway.
All right. Are you guys
Okay, I think
close
I'm
to
ready.
done? Yes, it is, Kim. It is John's fault. It's John's fault that the clouds are in Southern Ontario because
There was another
ordered them.
person I know got something.
Yep. Okay. Well, let's share stuff.
Yes.
Here's-
Okay, I will stop sharing. Did everybody see mine?
Yours
Here
is
we go.
beautiful. I like
Yeah,
that you
we
captured the
can't-
straight wall darker than Rimas Burt or Rima Burt, which is on the left. You did a good job of that. Well done, Samantha.
Thank you.
I
Well,
like
let's go.
Samantha's because you would actually like put it on your wall, as a sort of like I can picture like the 3 in the row, like at grandma's house.
Oh, that'd be cute.
Aw.
Yeah, I could see that. Like a little time series.
I'm gonna start painting. Okay, go,
Um,
Jenna. What's yours?
I'm turning off my virtual background for a second so that you can actually see it. There's mine. I drew and labeled everything that we
Oh,
talked
labeled. Yeah.
about. If anyone knows what this little crater up here is called, holla.
It was not marked on it's not marked on the big map.
It's so
So-
cute. So yeah, I didn't draw the rest of. It's Bert D, and that's Bert S down here. So that's Bert D, and then we have there we go. I think I'm getting better,
Yeah.
but it's
And then
really
mine
hard
is
to
just
tell.
for historical purposes.
Oh, I feel like you want
Was
to.
before.
Yeah. No artistic license. But I did use an eraser to smudge the mountains though.
Hey, good
So
job.
if someone can you know what I'm calling for? If any fellow knitters out there can make cool crochet patterns for moons, can we do that? It was hard to find this.
I feel like we could do some really cool knitting patterns with Maria. Like I feel like you
Yeah.
do a really good job with like the darker parts and the lighter parts, but it would be complex.
Can somebody make the straight wall, but knitted, like a Fair Isle knit pattern, like a sweater with all the different features of the moon? Oh, I need to get my skills up.
Yeah. This is where the ambition and the skills there's like a bit of a gap, and you're like, this would be so cool if, but my skills are just not good enough.
I think we went 5 minutes over. Totally crochet that. Thank you.
Right.
Yes, go ahead and then share it with
Please
me.
do.
I'll be a test crocheter, and then we can put it up on Etsy and make you some money.
Alrighty. Okay, so I'm gonna shut things down because we are way over time now. But this was fun, and I had fun. And did you all have fun? I hope you all had fun.
We still have
always have
40
fun.
people here, the whole solar system. Yes, so
Yeah.
all these creative ideas, share them with us. Next 4 weeks. You got 4 weeks to share them.
You got 4 weeks. I'm gonna try to loom things. We'll see how it all goes, and we look forward to seeing your submissions and seeing you all next week when we're talking about some other lunar day, and I can't remember which one.
Cross that bridge when we get there. Go view
Yeah.
tonight if John didn't make your skies cloudy.
Yes, get out there and see the moon, and we'll see you all in a week. Have a wonderful week and a good long weekend, everybody.
Yeah.